Welcome back. It's been a while. We have a lot to catch up on, but let's save that for later. We've got week 14 to talk about. Let's tune in the first matchup of the week with the 8-5 95ers taking on Gavin's 5-8 squad. The biggest story in this one is that Gavin's Nevermind squad needed a lot of things to happen in order for him to make the playoffs. We won't get into the details of it all, as the first step for Gavin was to simply beat Devin's 95ers. This was one of the lowest scoring matchups this week, as Gavin could only muster up 92 points, with big help from Jalen Hurts scoring 24 of those. He would unfortunately be his highest scoring player. No thanks to Bucky Irving in this one, as he's hurt early, and Marvin Harrison Jr. still not able to find that connection with his quarterback. Meanwhile, the 95ers look to take advantage of this low-scoring affair. Bijan Robinson and Cooper Kupp were able to take on this big role, scoring 20 points each. Going into the Sunday Night Football game, the 95ers were only down by a few. A somewhat decent performance from Justin Herbert and Gus Edwards would be able to seal the deal.
Looking for a touchdown to get close. Run inside. Edwards to the end zone. Chargers touchdown.
The 95ers will end up beating Gavin's Nevermind, as Devin will look to be the official 4th seed going into the playoffs, while Gavin is officially eliminated. Next matchup we see is another key playoff push matchup, where we see Zach's OJ Didn't Do It take on Blake and Joey's Najigbas in Paris. And the biggest deal for them is that they absolutely need Gavin to lose, or simply just win the ball game, and playoffs will be theirs. Although players like Josh Jacobs and David Njoku turned in wonderful performances, the rest of the team fell short, only mustering up 114 points, in a crucial matchup where Zach is looking to crush someone's dreams. While on the other hand, Blake and Joey simply said,
"We do not care,"
as Josh Allen calls game with an unbelievable 50-point night, single-handedly carrying the Jigbas in Paris to their playoff destiny. Final score, 150 to 113. Joey and Blake will enter the playoffs as the 6th seed, and Zach is officially eliminated. Next matchup we've got on our list include two teams that have already met their playoff fate, as Howitt's Turd Sandwich faces off against Rammer's Unsolicited Knicks Picks. Both teams would end up scoring over 130 points in their final regular season battle, as Rammer turned in wonderful performances from Justin Jefferson and Kyron Williams, and a key flex option in Roma Dunze, as they would all combine for 75 points total. However, Howitt since week 10 is 5-0. All thanks to the recent turn-up of Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, picking up another spectacular performance where they would both end up scoring 70 points combined to seal the game on Monday night. I won't forget about Devontae Adams and Tyreek as well, as they would both end up scoring 53 points combined. Final score, 153 to 133 Howitt. Howitt will clinch the 5th seed going into the playoffs, while Rammer is officially eliminated. Next matchup we see here are against two teams which yet again have already met their end of season fate, whereas Jake's Jackie's squad will take on Nick's pitiful Worthyless squad. Nick, with the key addition of Sam Darnold, turns up with 5 passing touchdowns, where he would end up with 35 points, and another couple key performances with Aaron Jones and Tony Pollard, where they would both combine for 30. However, players like James Cook and Deebo Samuel would end up only with a combined 10 points, which would greatly impact his team. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Jake's offense would simply just put up a consistent performance, where no player scored less than 15, while no one got more than 22, not including his defense, of course. Jake would end up smashing Nick 146 to 121. Jake will look to take the 1st seed in these upcoming playoffs, while Nick is officially eliminated. Our last matchup of the week is nothing short of a good old-fashioned beatdown, where we see Reed's Baker's Dozen taking on Trey's Quadzilla. Both of these teams have also already met their end-of-season fate. However, this could very well be a good showing of how these two teams might face off against one another later on. Trey's team had quite the disappointing outcome, as players like Chuba Hubbard and Garrett Wilson would turn up for 20 and 18. However, the rest of this team merely flopped, only putting up 105 total points. Where on the other side of things, Adam would take home Team of the Week, putting up 194 total points, with Zach Charbonnet and Puka Nacua putting up a combined 80 points in this very dominant win. Final score, 194 to 105. Trey will enter the playoffs as the 2nd seed, while Reed will take on the official 3rd seed, finalizing this year's playoff bracket. Going into this year's playoffs, we will not be seeing some familiar faces, as this will be the first time in league history that a champion is not named Zach or Gavin. Let's dive into these matchups. Our first matchup on the board here will be Joey and Blake's Najigbas in Paris taking on Reed's Baker's Dozen. The main story here is simple. A lot of owners around the league do not think Joey and Blake's team deserve to make it.
All right, just one question.
Did Joey and Blake deserve to make the playoffs?
No, absolutely not. No, Joey Blake did not deserve to be in the playoffs, no. That ball off the top of my head, I think they just caught 1,400 points even. Well, I think any team with the lowest amount of points for should not be in the playoffs. Yeah, they're averaging 106 points, man. This league is, it's kind of spiraled out of control. When you're scoring less points than a team who's 3-11, you should not be in the playoffs. Some of our best teams are, in the consolation bracket, and some of our worst teams may be in the actual playoff bracket.
And so I asked one more person.
Do you think that your team deserved to make the playoffs?
Yeah. Due to some highly strategic moves from me.
Okay, I like that. If you could point to one thing that may have hurt your season, what would you say?
Joey, straight out.
Wow, that's a bold take. Why?
Joey got one of the worst picks that the league has ever seen, and the 5th round taking Zamir White.
Are you confident with that answer?
I like that answer.
Hi, while I'm editing, I just want to throw in a quick disclaimer that I did not expect any of that at all. I was not expecting him to throw his co-manager under the bus like that. Kind of crazy in my opinion, but I had to put that in there, of course. So anyways, back to the video. Whether or not you believe they deserve to make it in does not matter, because they're here and they're ready. In the last 2 weeks for Najigbas and Paris, they've scored more points than they have in their last 3 beforehand. Not to mention, since week 1, they had never scored more than 115 points in a single week, averaging about 91 points per game from weeks 1 through 12. They've got the hot hand, however, and they're hoping to capitalize on the opportunity that's given to them. However, on the flip side of things, Reed's Baker's Dozen is looking to keep up their forward momentum, as he had one of the most consistent years one could have, not to mention the countless injuries he has faced over the course of the year. 4th in the league for points for, he is also hoping to capitalize on the strong week he just had. Players such as Puka Nacua, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Trey McBride can very well easily finish the job. Here's the look at the current spread and money lines for this matchup. In this next matchup, we have Devon's 95ers taking on Howitt's fiery hot turd sandwich. Owner Andrew Howitt has gone through some ups and downs this year. He went from 2-7 and last in the entire league to winning 5 games in a row and ending up 7-7 and in the playoffs, a remarkable run to say the least, all in part to many of Howitt's transactions throughout the year. He's going to have to heavily rely on his dynamic duo of Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow in order to stay involved in the race. Looking at the 95ers, Devon has had some small misfortunes on his way here. His team starting on week 1 looks a whole lot different, as we see Derrick Henry gone and some new fresh faces such as Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore, and the returning Bijan Robinson. Losing Josh Allen may have cost him, however, as I believe in order for him to make a deep run, he will need to find big games from his receiving core and is going to have to heavily rely on his quarterback to make big plays down the stretch. Here's a look at the current spread and money line odds for this matchup. May each team in the first round have the greatest of luck, and we will see you next week.